So our story this morning is a playful mystery play for 4 voices, adapted, and it's by Thomas Rhodes. Once upon a time,
a long time ago.
A very, very long time ago.
Like before your parents were even born.
there was a mystery.
She was a great mystery.
And nobody understood or appreciated her.
Mainly because there was no one else around to appreciate or understand much of anything.
For a long, long time, nothing happened.
The great mystery waited.
And waited.
And waited some more.
Until at last she said,
I'm bored.
and so the mystery set the stars in the heavens.
And planets to circle the stars.
And comets to wander to and fro.
And it was all very beautiful.
But after a couple billion years of watching, the mystery decided it was still
boring.
The mystery was lonely.
She wanted somebody to play with.
So she looked among the stars and the planets.
But some of the stars were
too hot.
And others were
too cool.
And some of the planets were
too big.
And others were
too little.
But she finally found one that was
just right.
This planet was covered with water.
But there were huge chunks of land sticking out.
And even mountains and plains and rivers.
Best of all, there were tiny, tiny creatures called protozoa.
that lived and squirmed in the water.
Come play with me,
the mystery said.
But the protozoa just kept on squirming like they hadn't even heard her.
Which isn't surprising.
Because they didn't have any ears.
After another couple of billion years of watching the stars and planets and comets,
and the squirming protozoa,
the mystery was bored again.
Then the mystery got an idea.
She decided to glue some of the protozoa together with stuff called protoplasm.
When they were stuck together, the protozoa started working together.
They formed eyes and feet and mouths and stomachs.
And ears.
So they could see and move around and eat and digest.
And hear me.
But even if the new creatures could hear the mystery, they didn't much pay attention to her.
Instead, they watched each other.
And they moved around and ate and digested each other too.
At least it was more interesting than watching the stars and the planets and the comets.
It was more interesting because as the new creatures watched and moved around and ate and digested,
they changed.
They grew.
They evolved.
And soon there were all kinds of different animals.
In the sea and on the land.
And mountains and rivers.
The mystery waited and watched as the animals continued to evolve.
And sure enough, after another bazillion years, she saw them.
And they were really funny looking.
All of their fur was stuck on the top of their heads.
And just a few other places on their bodies.
And they walked on just 2 feet.
Instead of all 4, like most of the other creatures.
But best of all, they could talk.
They would be so much fun to play with.
More time passed, and the humans kept evolving.
They gathered themselves together in cities and built roads to connect the cities.
They planted huge fields of crops and built machines to harvest the crops.
And they built other machines for traveling on the roads.
And they took the cows and sheep and pigs and pinned them up to use them for food.
And they argued a lot about what they were supposed to be doing with their lives.
The humans kept building more cities and roads, more fields and more machines.
Soon the world was filled with humans.
There was no room in the wild for animals.
The cows and the sheep and the pig got more and more crowded in their pens.
The humans were running out of room, too.
Some thought there was no more room for the mystery either.
And that the humans were too busy building and arguing to play anymore.
The mystery wanted to say something, but she knew her voice would terrify the humans.
But maybe there was another way.
The mystery knew that the humans wouldn't listen to her, no matter how loudly or clearly she spoke.
Maybe instead of telling the humans what to do in a loud voice like thunder, she could use her softer voice like a whisper.
Maybe instead of speaking into their ears, she could speak to their hearts.
Maybe instead of using words, she should use feelings.
And that is exactly what she did.
If you listen very closely, you will hear what the mystery is saying to you.
Don't listen with your ears, listen with your heart.
Think about what you feel when you consider this beautiful planet our home.
Do you feel joy?
Do you feel a sense of wonder?
Do you feel thankful?
Do you feel love?
Each of these feelings is part of the mystery.
And if we remember that, perhaps we can remember how we are meant to be, how to live just as one part of a larger mystery of all that is life.
Amen.
Shalom.
And blessed be.